All right. Hello, everyone. It is a beautiful Sunday here, and I am in Belgium still. I just got back from Amsterdam at a OMEC summit, meeting some amazing Black creatives, entrepreneurs, people living abroad, and it was a great experience. I can't wait to share about it and also invite the founder to be interviewed as well. So if you are just now joining us, please let me know where you are joining from. I see the Awakened Life is saying that she is excited about this topic. Let's see. So if you're just now joining in, let us know where you are watching from. Also, if you're listening to this podcast, definitely we are getting feedback to see where people are tuning in from. So I hope that you are tuning in from different continents, whether you're on your way to work or going to school or just doing some downtime. Andrea from Maryland. We have the Awakened Life from North Carolina. We have, please do not butcher me when I'm trying to butcher your name. Shibuki and Nawo. They are tuning in from the Enugu state in Nigeria. All right. That is amazing. So we have some people from America. We have some people from Nigeria. How's the weather in Nigeria right now? I would love to know. All right. I am going to go ahead and kick this off. So thank you guys for joining this amazing live. My name is Heather Courtney. If this is your first time watching one of my lives or you've been a long time follower of my YouTube channel, thank you for being here. I am United States disabled veteran. I am a mother. I have lived in Japan, Mexico, and now live in Portugal. And I am the founder of Black in Portugal. I have also enjoyed meeting people, building community, making organic connections. And what I am doing with my YouTube lives are connecting people, sharing inspirational stories of those who have lived abroad, those that are moving abroad, and those that are traveling and are curious about traveling. So without further ado, I am going to bring Dawn Butler to the stage. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can everyone hear Dawn in the comment section?
Yeah,
Maybe put a thumbs up.
in the chat.
Yeah,
Here.
yeah, sometimes it's a little bit delayed with the comments coming in, but hopefully everyone can hear you good. I know I can hear you good. Yes. So, Dawn, I would love for you to. Oh, yes, they can hear us. They can hear us loud and clear. Yes, perfect. So, Dawn, can you introduce yourself and tell us about your journey and how travel played a role in your healing process after your divorce?
So hi everyone again. I'm Dawn Butler. I born and raised in the Bahamas on Nassau, New Providence, tiny little island in the Bahamas. And I'm a techie by profession and day trade. So that's usually what I tell people because that's what I do every day and I've done for about 28 years now. That's not the person that's here today with you. Let's talk about who's here today. Though the techie is always with me, right? That's intrinsic, it's innate in me at this point in my life. Who I am is the person that's survived 2 bad marriages. And I'm sorry, I don't want to fluff. I'm not gonna fluff it. When I look back, they were not good. you know? And so I'm not gonna fluff that, but I had to learn how to come back from those. And I will say that each divorce, I responded differently. And really, the response to my second divorce is what brought me here today. So, the first divorce, I sort of, I don't even know how to describe it. I had a word for it. I used to call it my disillusion days or something like that. When the
Yeah.
second one came around, I was like, yeah, I can't do that again.
Mhm. Wow.
To heal differently, right? I hadn't really healed from the first one when I got into the second one. So that was another big lesson I learned, that
Mhm.
I healed, and I was like, I can't repeat this cycle in my life, right? I got to learn some things. Like Iyanla Van Zandt says, you got to do the work.
Yes.
And in fact,
She did
Iyanla
say
was
that.
one of the key people. I used to watch her show Fix My Life back then.
Mhm.
I'd just be taking all kinds of good stuff from her.
She has some really good information and great things in her books.
Yes, therapy. And then I used to also watch Married at First Sight back then. And I would take all the stuff the Pastor Cal would say, and I would make notes. I really
Mhm.
intent upon working on myself. And so, but during that time, I thought this can't all be for nothing.
Mm.
Right? I couldn't have gone through all of this, the heartache, the pain, disappointment for nothing. There has to be more. And everyone, I want you to know that I am a believer in God and in Jesus Christ. And so that relationship is about 95%
Mhm.
of what drives me. The 5% is what got me in trouble. Okay.
Yeah.
The 5% of being stubborn and not praying or whatever, that's what got me in trouble. And so the one thing that I realized the Bible talks about, when you're troubled and you have challenges with your faith and stuff, when you have recovered, then you're supposed to help someone else.
Mhm.
And so it
Yeah.
just became my mission to help other people through their healing journey. Because, like I said, the first time I didn't do too well. Second time, I was like, yeah, I don't want to. I want to be married again, but I don't want to have a third divorce, right?
Mhm.
And so that's pretty much how we got here. And when it comes to travel, that had a lot more to do with the fact that during the bad marriages, I put a lot of my dreams on the back burner.
Mhm.
I always wanted to travel. And at around my second divorce, I was around 38, 39, going on to 40. And I don't know who else is 40, but something happens when you turn 40.
Okay. I didn't know you were 40 or 40 plus because you look really good.
Wait till I tell you how old I really am.
I thought you were like mid-20s,
Wow.
maybe early 30s. They say black don't crack, and it's clearly showing because you look really, really, really good.
And when I think about it, for all I've been through, I know it's just God's grace because it could show. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's very
Um,
true.
but I think too, the work, trying to take
Mhm.
care of myself, recovering from it and not letting the bitterness and the unforgiveness and all that stuff sit in there, that I think that wears on you. But as
Yes.
far as travel, I'd always wanted to travel. From the eighth
Mhm.
grade, I used to sit and study the map.
Oh, wow.
Yes, but our teacher used to make us go, like, come up to the board, and she would have the
Mhm.
map there, and she would ask us to find a random place on the map, and I'm an overachiever.
Yeah. So where did you find? What would you pick out?
I would just read the map and find any little small dot, anything. And
Mhm.
somehow it created this desire for me to see the world. And so when I was in my near 40, I was like, man, time is running out. Like all my good years. you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so that's where the travel desire came in. Through that process, I really discovered myself again. And in that discovery, I found a lot of love for myself, not just
Mhm.
the travel, but the Anna Van Zandt stuff and all
Yes.
the things. And I didn't have room anymore to allow the hurt and the pain and the disappointment to stop me from living my dreams. That's
Mhm.
essentially the answer to that question, I believe. Yeah.
Wow. I can relate on some of the things you said because I was married too. I was married very young. I wasn't married off or anything like that. I
Yeah.
literally hopped on a train, went to Virginia, got married to my ex-husband now. I think I was 18 when I got married.
Oh, yes. Very young.
I was a baby
Yeah.
making adult decisions,
Don't
and
know anything.
yes, yes, you don't know anything,
Thanks, too.
and I remember, as a domestic violence survivor, my divorce, the whole marriage took a toll on me, and my divorce took a toll on me. And because I was so young, I think I was divorced probably by 23 or 24. I
Mhm.
was divorced, and it the healing part, I think, is what I did not have knowledge on how to heal properly. My mom wasn't married. A lot of the women in my family weren't married. I think my aunt was married, but she had been divorced for years. But everyone else did not have a husband. Their husband passed away. So
Mhm.
learning how to navigate healing as a 23-year-old, 24-year-old, like who's healing like that in your 20s? You're supposed to be living your best life and
Yeah.
doing things, and
Well,
it's a
you
lot.
need healing most of the
Yes,
time at that age.
yes. And I remember my mom would tell me, "Read this book, Iana's book, Eva, the
She
what
was
was the
trying to help you.
Power in the Valley? The Power in the Valley? Is that
I
the name
never
of it?
read any Lanya's books. I've only watched Fix My Life.
Okay. Well, she has some really good books. My mom's like, read
Yeah.
these books, and then she'll give me the books that you could fill it in.
Yeah.
And um, I just remember like the healing process took long, like long, long, long for me to navigate it and still trying to process everything as being a 20-year-old. And it's just very interesting. And like, okay, yes, you went through it twice. Like the healing might have been a little bit different each time, but it's the healing part that some people miss. Some people don't want to like explore the possibility of healing because it does hurt when a relationship that you might have put your all into ends. And like you mentioned, you wanted to travel, you wanted to do these things, and then you put yourself on the back burner, for this other person for whatever reasons at the time. And now you're just like, well, okay, yeah, I did that. I'm not doing it again. I want to
Right.
live my life. I want to enjoy. So yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Yes. So what was your first trip post divorce, and how did it impact your emotional and mental well-being?
So I will say that post the first divorce, I didn't take any trips. So I wasn't thinking about that. Now,
Mhm.
I'm from the Bahamas, so getting on a plane and going places is not a huge
Yeah.
thing for me. I travel back and forth for college and all of that stuff like that. My after my second marriage ended, my first trip post divorce was San Francisco.
Mhm.
I wanted to go to San Francisco forever because of the weather. Like
Yeah.
I said, the temperatures are really moderate, and I don't like the heat. Okay, I'm from the Bahamas. People don't. They're like, but you're from the Bahamas. I still don't like the heat. I grew up
Yeah.
with air conditioning. Okay, that's why
Mhm.
I like the heat. And so I started like at that point, I started to explore and learn about travel in a different way than I had done it before. So all the times
Mhm.
I traveled before was for work or with family or something. And so the solo travel thing was different, right?
Mhm.
I had been on a plane by myself. I've been
Yeah.
to places by myself, but I'd never traveled for leisure on my own.
Mhm.
So Heather, if you would allow me, I want to read an excerpt from my journal from that trip.
Yes, yes,
Is that okay?
yes, yes.
I'm
I'm excited to hear. I haven't heard anyone's journal.
glasses. Y'all don't laugh at me. This is how we know I'm over 40.
Yes.
But it's working so far. Okay. See, I have like the lens under here, so I had to lift my head. So y'all don't.
The trifocals or
Yeah,
the
bifocal.
okay. Yeah. Okay. I know a little bit about them.
This is how you know you're over 40.
Yeah.
My first day on my first solo trip to San Francisco, and I'm hiding out. LOL. That's what I wrote. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. I have more there, but I'll skip that. Then I
Okay.
see my surroundings and don't feel 100% safe outside. So I wrote
Oh,
that.
no.
Yes. Then I wrote a little later. So I hide away in the room. I'm hungry, but torn between venturing out on my own and delivery. Delivery seems like such a punk move. It was my first trip. Like, what a punk you are. You staying inside? You know what I
Yes,
mean?
a lot of emotions going on there.
So
Yeah.
I wrote, by the way, the Airbnb is called the Hideout.
Oh, wow. So you were at an Airbnb, you got the hideout. You was really trying to hide out, was not trying to go outside, about to do Uber Eats, leave at the door. I will not meet you. I'll grab it when you're in your car and have gone away. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I
There
didn't
was
do Uber Eats because it was too expensive. I ate crackers and a banana and some peanut butter.
Oh no. That wasn't you didn't do that your whole trip.
Whoa, no, I finally got
Okay.
over it. So then this is day number 2. This is really important. Verdict is
Okay.
in.
Okay.
Solo travel is boring.
On day 2, you didn't even the only Dawn.
But I
Day
want
2, boring. Day 1, you're hiding out. Day 3, you gonna be like how Stella got her groove back? Is that what's gonna happen on day 3?
Oh no. Look, this was like 10 years. This was like 2016. It's been a long time. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out, I wanted to tell that story to everyone because on your first trip, you may have a little bit of disillusionment, right? It may not be everything you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
I thought it was boring because I'd never done something like that by myself, right? And I
Mhm.
remember now I've been married. So I was used to living with someone,
Yeah.
used to being around people all the time. So it only been a couple of years since I had moved and was living by myself, right? Though I'm a
Mhm.
very what's the word? Self-contained person. I don't need people a lot. But going all the way to San Francisco, being terrified the night before, right?
Yeah.
Day 2 doing whatever, and I'm like, it's boring. Okay. So turns out I didn't like it.
So you did not like the solo traveling.
Right. But I had some lessons, right? I pushed past a whole lot of fear.
Mhm.
Because again, I didn't feel safe. So that increased my confidence level, right? I got lost a lot.
Okay. Okay. 'Cause
with
yeah.
GPS, even with the GPS,
Yes.
Google Maps kept taking me the wrong direction, or I didn't know how to use it.
Google Maps
Who knows?
does the most sometimes. So, yes. But I do have a question.
Yeah,
When you mentioned that you did not feel safe, in what context? Can you, just elaborate on that?
I don't really want to, but I will. So
Oh, okay.
no, it's fine. San Francisco has a lot of homeless people.
Okay.
And right down the street from where I was staying, there was a homeless person there. And he was there every day. And
Oh,
so
okay.
that made me feel a little insecure,
Mhm.
because I didn't know what was going on with the person, right? And I mean, it was a good neighborhood, but
Yeah, but you
I
just don't know with less fortunate people. Mhm.
I didn't know that that was a San Francisco thing when I first got there.
Yeah.
I know that now, that
Yeah,
that's
okay.
how it is there, right?
Mhm.
But it did mar my trip a bit in the way that, not with the way you would think. It made me very sad
Mhm.
to see so many people
Mhm.
homeless. So, but like I said, I lost my way. I met a really nice lady sitting at like a cheesecake factory. She was sitting next
Mhm.
to me, and I just started talking to her. So I stretched my social skills a little bit. And she's the one who told me about the homeless situation in San Francisco that helped me a whole lot to feel better. She said, Dawn, most of the people that are homeless there are not because of drugs or violence, it's because of mental issues, mental health.
Mhm. Okay.
That made me feel slightly safer,
Yeah.
but not a whole lot safer. And then I'm from a little island, remember?
Yeah.
My mom taught me stranger danger.
Yeah. Yes, my side note, my dad's wife is, from Nassau, and as a kid,
You
she would make some amazing food, like, food plates. They were selling plates outside of my dad's house,
are you
so I ate
serious,
good as a kid.
Heather? I cannot believe this. I love when
Yeah.
it happens. It's like the world is so small, so small.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
So, anyways, that was my first trip. I had a lot of emotions. Look,
Mhm.
fear, excitement. I got to see a lot of stuff. I was proud of myself. Look, the whole bag, right?
Mm,
But I was glad to go back home.
yeah.
So I'm not
Well,
gonna lie.
how old were you when you did your first solo trip?
If that's 2016, that's 8 years ago. I was 41.
Okay. Oh,
Mhm.
we're gonna do the math later because we're gonna do the math at the
We'll
end.
get there.
Um, I I did my first solo trip, this was after I moved to Portugal. So I had world travel with my daughter everywhere, have traveled with other people. But when I did my first solo trip, I went to London, and I had already been in London before, so it wasn't anything
Right.
like crazy. And I was just like, what am I supposed to be doing? And I booked a hotel. Listen, I booked this hotel that had no windows. Like, it's called the Zen Hotel because it's like to be relaxed and everything. So I get to the hotel, there's like plants in my room. It's really nice. And I'm just like, do I really want to leave? Can I just get the food next door? There's like a restaurant next door. I just want to stay. I don't want to do anything. And then it was in like this area called Piccadilly Circus. So it's
Yes.
like
I've been
super
to
busy with
three
like
times.
everything. Yes.
Everything.
And I'm just like, I really don't want to be outside with these people. I mean, I didn't feel unsafe or anything. It's just like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, I'm a solo trip. I see other people enjoying, like, doing excursions, taking photos, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, "What?"
Why am I not? And that's a good point.
Yeah.
We're veering off a little bit, but that's one of the things that I had to learn as well. Like, I don't have to do anything.
Mhm.
It was one of my coworkers, a older white lady, that told me that when I had been solo traveling, and I would tell her how sometimes I would just stay in my room at night. And
Yeah.
she was like, "Dawn, if that makes you feel safe, don't feel bad about that."
Yeah, I think it's whatever works best for you at that time, and I think kind
Exactly.
of social media, can
There's no
portray not
pressure.
realistic. Yeah, like, you have to be out there taking pictures, doing
Right.
things. I just wanted to eat Five Guys in my room in peace. That's
And
all I
that's
wanted to do.
okay. Now, I will
Yeah, and
still struggle with that pressure when I travel, and I find myself in my room a lot, and I'm like, "You're also on vacation. Give yourself permission to relax."
yes, and
Yeah.
that's relax, rest, relax, and reset.
Yes,
That
exactly.
is one thing that I feel like is important, and sometimes you just don't wanna do nothing, so, no, I'm glad I was not the only one that, felt similar in ways, but okay, cool. Because everyone else I know is like they're out there doing things, and I'm just like,
I'm
"Mm,
really telling the truth, Heather.
yeah."
It could be personality, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Some of the comments are saying that, let me go back up. Andrea says you look amazing, but let's see. The Awakened Life said, my husband took me to San Francisco for our first travel trip. He
Aw.
proposed then, no matter what, I will always love San Francisco, Redwood Forest, and Napa Valley. I will go again.
I will go again, Awaken Life. Okay, don't. That was my first trip. I want to go to Napa. I haven't. I almost went. I almost planned to go to Napa this year, but the flights didn't turn out well. But I definitely
Mhm.
want to go to Redwood Forest, Sonoma, Napa. I will definitely go back to Fi, however you pronounce it. So whatever they call it.
Yes.
Ah,
Pretty Fly Traveler said, interesting. I was born and raised in San Francisco, so her insights gave me some perspective.
let us
Yeah.
know what that means, Pretty Fly Traveler. I would love to know what perspective it gave you. I would love to.
Yeah.
I hope I
Uh,
didn't sound crazy, like
no,
a tourist.
no, yeah. But for some areas in the US is a culture shock sometimes. Like, not gonna lie, the US is full of surprises all the time.
Yes.
Katora, I hope said your name correct. Fontaine said, I appreciate that you are not romanticizing solo travel. There are good and bad moments in everything.
True. Very true. And that helps to be grounded when you know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Awaken Life said, whatever helps you heal. Sometimes just being away to yourself is just what you need. Yes. Well
Exactly.
said. Well said.
Yes.
And I'll just read these last two and then we can continue on. Katara said she likes the balanced perspective that you mentioned, Dawn. And also, Dawn helped me plan a solo trip to Napa
Very
Valley. It was great. So am I saying her name right? Katora? Katora?
close. Yeah. I'm Katura is what I call her.
Katora. Okay. Okay, Katora, we see
Yeah.
you.
I got
Valley.
her through her first solo trip.
Wow, wow, that is amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
That was
speaking of solo travel,
yes.
yes. Oh, did I ask this question already?
I don't know.
How did your experience of traveling help you gain perspective and find peace during such a challenging time?
So I would say I'm going to start with the peace part because I mentioned this already, right? So the peace I gained for me came
Mm,
from my intent to be in a more intimate relationship with God, right? It,
yes.
differently than in my first divorce. The first divorce, I saw it straight away.
Mhm.
I was just running, doing whatever I wanted. It was fun, but didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second time, I was like, all right, I want to do it different. I want my relationship with God to get more intense than stretch. So
Mhm.
he's my source of peace in that. But I also did a lot of things to promote my peace and sustain my peace, right? I was very careful about who I allowed to feed into my life.
Mhm.
And if someone came into my life and they like weren't peaceful, I was like, you're out.
Yeah. Do not disturb my peace.
And I'm not trying to be mean. It's just
Mhm.
trying to heal.
Yeah.
And when it's a vulnerable place. It's
Mhm.
a place where you can make really bad decisions So if
Yeah.
you're not careful and guard your heart, things can happen. So I did a lot of that. Strategies for coping. I told you about Iyanla. I did a
Yeah.
lot of work, reading books and things like that. And I gave myself time and
No, that's good.
space. Yeah. And I dated and everything while it, but I also was like, this date thing ain't working right now. I'm not ready. One of my
Mhm.
best friends one time, she's my best friend now, but at the time we were just meeting, getting to know each other. And we were talking about dating, right?
Mhm.
Saying, well, I don't know. And she said, Dawn, it doesn't sound like you're ready.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is she to say that to me? I don't know her. Barely knows me.
But she spoke some truth, correct?
Yep, she was absolutely correct. And I can recognize truth when it's the truth. Because she was like, if you're not ready to sacrifice your time and you want to stick with your routine, then you're not ready to date somebody. I was like, girl, you're right. And that's why she became my friend, because she told me the truth.
Truth and not just what you wanted to hear.
Right, exactly. So those, from in terms of my piece, that's what I happened. And then perspectives I gained, like a renewed confidence in myself. Right, I don't think I realized how much being in a bad marriage had eroded my confidence.
Mm.
Still healing from that,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it'll ever go away, because I had
Mhm.
bad marriages, and they both eroded my confidence a lot. And I'm only now seeing the impact that it's had, not just in my personal life, but even my professional life as well. But traveling solo showed me what I'm capable of. Like, it's a reassurance of my capability. Like, even my most recent trip, I reminded myself, hey, you can do this
Yeah.
stuff. You're
Yeah.
powerful. You know what I mean? And I spent a lot of time like finding mantras for myself. I would do
Mm.
the word of the year, what's my vision for the year? And I would be like, be bold, be courageous, stuff like that.
Yes, and those are needed for sure.
Yeah. And I repeated to myself, right? Like, so, and not just saying the words, but I did the actions that
Mhm.
reinforced the person I wanted to become, right? Courageous, daring, and wonderful, like the name of my business. So that name doesn't just come out of a hat. That was like what I did.
There's deep meaning behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want that for every woman coming out of divorce, to be courageous again and to dare to do some things and to find her the wonderful person that she is. It's inside that, who cares what he said?
Yeah. It's finding yourself and loving yourself and
Yes.
finding things that bring you joy and things that once brought you joy to continue bringing you joy. And there's a lot of taking time out and just listening to yourself and seeing how you feel and doing things that might align with in the road that you're headed with,
Right.
or things that you were doing in the past that are helping you align to where you're trying to be. So definitely, it's definitely needed. And I just want to go back to something that you said about writing down these words. Whether you believe in manifestation or believe in the art of saying things,
Mhm.
speaking them to existence, I
Yes.
think it's very important because sometimes we might have it in our head, yes, like we're beautiful, we're important, we have so many things that of value that we can bring to others.
Mhm.
But sometimes we forget about those things.
Yes.
And sometimes it's good to, some people use it on their phone, have apps, or some people use stickies. I like stickies for some reason. I don't know. It's just something about peeling the little
Art
sticky
on
off.
too.
Yes, and putting it up there because sometimes for me when I'm at my desk, yeah, no cards. When I'm at my desk, I look up. Like, I don't know why I look up. I have like this board that I have certain things on.
Mhm.
And I just look up and then sometimes I'm like, my word right
Yeah.
there. Okay. I'm getting back on track. Yes, I'm
Yes.
powerful. Yes, I'm beautiful.
Yes.
Yes, you know, I had read a book. I think it was How to Be a Millionaire. It's by a
Mhm.
woman billionaire, or something like that. And she was talking about the author was talking about self-confidence and everything, and how sometimes as women, especially when we go through certain things in life where we're so easy to put ourselves down in situations. One of the examples that she gave was weight gain. As women, our bodies are so unique and beautiful that we gain weight, we lose weight. But I feel like society, and what she was saying, society puts like these expectations, like, yes, okay, you put on these pants, but they're too tight.
Yeah.
Don't at yourself in a negative manner, like, oh, I'm fat, I need to lose weight. A, B, C, and D. Yes, okay, you might need to lose weight, might need to lose
Right,
weight.
right.
You need to put in your head like, wow, my pants got too tight. I just need to buy a bigger size and it will be okay. It's
Yes.
okay. But I think that sometimes we get in our heads about, oh no, a bigger size means, I'm not going to be as beautiful, or,
That's true.
oh, I have a pimple here or a blemish here. I'm not going to be as beautiful. So really tapping into these things that you're writing down, these positive affirmations, saying, I'm beautiful no matter what. When I wake up in the morning, and how I look that's how I'm supposed to
Right.
look at
That's how
I'm
God made it to
beautiful.
be.
Yes, and you can't
And it's beautiful.
yes, and we cannot compare ourselves to other people. I
Nope.
think it's great to have a positive role model for some things, but when it comes to internal beauty and our looks, like, we are all meant to look different. We are
Yeah.
not all meant to look the same, and sometimes we forget those things because social media is filled with everybody.
Society and culture. Oof.
Yeah, 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 it's a lot of pressure, so
Mm.
I'm so happy to see that you have your note cards. I
Oh,
have my little sticky notes and, things I write down, so if you are writing affirmations, that's great. If you're watching this and it's not something that has crossed your mind, give it a try. Give it maybe 3 weeks. I think 3 to 4 weeks, a month is a great amount of time to
mhm.
speak existence and, maybe journal and write down how you feel,
Oh,
like, after you
yeah,
say those
true.
words.
Mhm.
Yeah, how does it make you feel?
Yeah.
Well,
And
thank you. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, to add to that, one of the things I've been doing every day, and it's an app on the phone. It's
Mhm.
called no, geez, I'm gonna say the wrong name. Presently, I think, and it's a
Present.
gratitude thing.
Ah, I think I've heard of gratitude before.
This one is called Presently, and basically it's just say, what are you grateful for today? And
Mhm.
when you're healing and going through processes like that, sometimes
Yeah.
you have to remind yourself of the good things.
Yes.
I made a commitment to myself at one point during that whole journey that I was once a week I'd write something good.
Mm.
Put it in my phone, and I had a reminder, something good. And I would sit
Yeah.
down and I would journal it or whatever. And there were days, Heather, when it was hard to find something good.
Mhm. It
If
is
I sat
sometimes.
there long enough, right?
Mhm.
It could be I woke up this morning, or just something.
Yeah,
And
something
that
before.
makes a difference in the journey, to be able to see where you've come from and how far you've come in and
Mm.
it's just a process. Yeah.
Yes, I have a journal that I've been writing in since I was 16, y'all, like,
Good
listen.
for you.
And yes, I feel like it's a periodic journal. It's not an everyday journal, but I look back on the different chapters of my life and I see the growth of my mindset, the things that I wrote about. And I wish that I had like the knowledge that you were saying, like writing these positive affirmations down when I was going through tough times, because the way that I viewed myself as a young woman, it's sad, the
Mhm.
things I would say about myself, and my outlook on a lot of things. And I know, like, when you're younger, like, your mind isn't fully developed, but I feel like still, like, you can still say nice things about yourself and everything. So now I'm just like, I don't want to when I look back in my little chapters of,
Uh,
my ongoing diary journal, I wanna look back and say, "Wow, Heather, you've come a long way. You are writing nice things about yourself." Even if it's just, like, something so small that may not be something as big, but just reminding yourself, like, "Yeah,
every
I'm
little
beautiful,
thing
I'm
counts.
smart." I try to make sure, I share these things with my daughter too, not the journal writings, but
Yeah.
speaking positive affirmations. My daughter will be 17, in August, so she's a young lady, so I think
Hmm.
I should be wanting to teach her these things so when she goes through tough situations, she's able to still remind herself of, yes,
Yeah.
I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I can get through anything. I might be having a bad day, but I'm so grateful that I have a roof over my head, clothes on my back, just
Love of
something.
my mother, my
Yes,
family.
yes, yes.
And
Gratitude is healing.
I know we're going off track a little from our questions, but I'm glad
Yes.
you brought that up about your daughter, because I think the world and men
Mhm.
will do what they can to tear all that down.
Yes.
You gotta build her up, because when
Yeah.
she goes out, they're gonna do everything. It's gonna do everything it can to bring her down, right?
Mhm.
Could you imagine if you or I had not had some sort of a good foundation
Mm-hmm.
of who we are, even though it may not have been the best.
Yes.
We may not have survived
Mm-hmm.
all the things we went through, right? So
Yeah.
it's so important that you invest that in her so that she has that armor,
Yeah.
to
She's
rely.
gonna need it. This
Yeah,
world is very ugly and nasty, and it's just getting worse and worse. And
exactly.
we need this conversation is so good. Like you said, I know we're going a little bit off track. It's these conversations are needed because we don't know who's watching, who's going to catch the replay, and how much these conversations that I feel like are not being had as much as other conversations can
Definitely.
inspire someone, can relate, can help someone get through like, wow, Heather went through this, Dawn went through this, and look, they are thriving. They are alive to tell the tale, and we are sharing our knowledge and experiences, just in casual conversation, and it's so much beautifulness that's coming out of it because I didn't expect what we're talking about right now. I didn't expect it to come out how it is right now. So it's so good. I want to keep going. Let me.
Look,
I'll
if you fool around with me, you could ask my friends. We talk about everything under the sun. So
get you friends like that. You need friends like that you can talk about anything and be vulnerable, and y'all can still crack jokes and laugh and kiki. But those are the real ones that you need in your life, in your circle.
exactly.
Yes. Let's see. What are some of your memorable experiences from your solo travels that had a profound impact on you?
Wow. So I have two stories. I
Okay.
don't know which one I want to tell. And I'm gonna try to tell them, within a decent amount of time. Because what time is it? 4:38.
Yeah.
I call this one my planes, trains, and automobile story. Because in that
Mhm.
trip, I took planes, trains, and I drove. So I'd gone. I said earlier, I love London.
Yes.
So I went to London. My goal initially was to go to D-Day, the D-Day celebrations in
You know,
Normandy.
yeah.
I have a fascination with World War II. I don't know where it came from. I just do.
Yeah.
But my coworker at the time, who lived in Budapest at the time, was like, "Are you sure? It's going to be busy, and I don't like crowds." So
Mhm.
all he had
Same.
to say, I was like, "I don't need to do it." He said, "Well, why don't?" Because he was going to meet me. He was like, "Well, instead of doing that, why don't you like go to Amsterdam and Belgium? Because he used to live in those places." I was like,
Yes.
"Well, that's a good idea." And he was like, "We can drive." And then he says to me, "Well, Dawn, I don't have a driver's license, so you're gonna have to drive." And I was like,
Oh, Lord. You drive stick?
"No, I got an automatic car." But my point is, it was his idea. And now I can.
Yeah.
Long story short, coming up to the trip, I'm not hearing from him, and I'm like, I think
Mhm.
this dude is gonna renege on me.
Yeah.
Like, and I hadn't prepared an itinerary, Heather, because I was relying on
On
him.
air. Yeah.
So I said, "You know what, Dawn? You just give yourself a bare bones itinerary just in case."
Mhm.
Get to London fine and doing my thing. And
Yeah.
the night before I'm supposed to go to Amsterdam, because I was
Mhm.
taking the Eurostar from London to Amsterdam,
Yes. Very
he
close.
messages me and says, "I can't make it."
Wow.
Now I'm like, dude, couldn't you told me that last week?
Yeah.
Because I could have changed my plans. I could have
Mhm.
canceled my hotel in Amsterdam. I could have stayed in London. So many things I could have done. But by the time he did that, I couldn't cancel anything. And then he was like, "Well, maybe you could take a flight to Budapest." And he was trying to put me on these like tiny little, not even on the major airlines. Have those really small
Oh,
flights.
yes, yes, yes.
They don't come out of Amsterdam airport. They come out of some other small airport.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Mm-mm. No.
I said, "No, that's okay. It's too late."
Mhm.
But I will say that and this is going to be the one story I tell because it's a beautiful story. I was terrified. I'd never driven in Europe before. I was
Yeah.
driving from Amsterdam to Brussels. I didn't know if they drove on the right side of the street or the left side of the street.
I was just in Amsterdam and I'm now in Brussels, literally. Like,
I had never driven in Europe before. I mean, I know how to drive on both sides of the street because in the Bahamas you drive on the left and in the US you
yeah.
drive on the right. But it's still a challenge,
Oh,
The
yeah.
signage may not be in English, all the different
Mhm.
things. But I had already made this plan. So I met this lady through a Facebook group who was so precious to me. I reached out to her, ready to meet with her, and she spoke into my life, Heather. She was an
Wow.
angel in disguise. She said, Dawn, it's okay. It wasn't meant to be. Like,
Exactly.
God had other plans for you.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're on this trip, reflect.
Yeah.
Spend time figuring out, what are you supposed to be learning about yourself, blah, blah, blah. And she gave me what I needed to keep going, right? Get on the Eurostar, get to Amsterdam, find my hotel, and I'm terrified again because I'm like, this don't look safe. Heather,
Hashtag this don't look safe.
I rented my car. First of all, I had a hard time trying to figure out like how to get out of the airport. It's just look,
Yeah.
when you travel by yourself, that when you overcome these challenges, because you're like, you don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Either you're gonna ask for help or you're gonna figure it out. That's just
Yeah.
how it is. So I didn't like my hotel in Amsterdam. The area was a little funny. I
Mm-hmm.
left the hotel, got food real quick, and came right back. I did not. I did not venture out.
You were not playing around. You were just like,
No, no, no,
no.
no.
Yeah.
And I was going, my goal was to go to Harlem, right? So you know where that is. It's like not far
On the
off.
coast. Yeah, coast to the coast.
So I was leaving the next day anyway to drive to Harlem. That was my main goal, not Amsterdam. And I got to Harlem and I was fine, but there was nobody around. I was like, where are all the people?
Were they working?
It was a holiday.
Ah.
I was like, Dawn, you are a novice.
Wow. So was everything closed down?
Pretty much. It was a public holiday. And it was
Oh,
those religious holidays.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
It was like Europe has those religious holidays in like May, like a bunch of them back to back. It was those. So
Oh,
2
wow, yeah.
days of my trip were public holidays. No, 3. I arrived in London on the bank holiday. Then 2 days later, I was in Amsterdam, well, in the Netherlands on some other holiday, like Whit Monday or something. And then 2 days later, it was another holiday. I was like, you are a complete novice. You didn't check to see if there were holidays.
Give yourself grace because Portugal is like a holiday every other weekend.
But you
And
know, I was from
randomly,
Portugal, so I checked that.
yeah.
Lesson learned. Okay, this story keeps going. I want y'all to be patient with me, please. It's funny and it's also very inspirational. I'm telling you. So that's fine. I find that people in Amsterdam or Netherlands were not very helpful. The Dutch was throwing me off. Like I know some French, but I was struggling with the Dutch. So anyway, I get on the road and I drive to. I wanted to go to Ghent, Belgium.
Yeah, in Belgium. Yeah,
but I'd gotten a bread and breakfast outside of the city. I get there, and again, there's hardly anybody around. I'm like, where are all the people in this town, right? In a way, I feel safe because, I found that people would stare at me a lot when I go to these places because you're like the only Black person.
Oh, okay. In some places, yes.
They will stare you down. You're like, is something wrong with me? Like, I mean, or maybe I'm beautiful. I don't know. Which one it is. And so I get to my accommodations, Heather, and I can't figure out what's happening. Like I'm knocking on the door, no one's answering. They have a little, just like one of these like index cards. They have something written in Dutch.
In Dutch.
On the door. I'm trying to put that in Google Translate, and that is not translating.
Yeah.
I mean, at all. It makes no sense. I park my car, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? To stand on the street, and in the middle of the road comes a Black woman walking down the street.
So you know what you had to do? You had to,
Yeah. I was like, hi, ma'am, do you speak English? And she said, yes. That beautiful woman translated the Dutch for me, took me inside the bread and breakfast to a room.
Yeah.
It was okay, and went on a business. And I said, when God says he's going to give you an angel.
Yeah.
She was an angel. Now, I'm in the bed and breakfast, and they're like, well, who are you? They finally come home, and they're like, well, who are you? And I was like, Dawn Butler.
Yeah.
You by yourself? And I'm getting offended because I'm like, people can travel solo. What do you mean, are you by yourself?
I don't need my husband with me.
That my reservation didn't come through, and they were expecting a couple to be in that room.
Ah,
they
wow.
had no room for me. None at all. They were booked solid.
Okay. So at least you're in safe right now. You're inside. You're not out in the corner. The lady helped you in.
Right.
What happened? Did they help you get a room? Did they send you on your way?
The man was a gay couple. They were, and I don't know why I said that, but they were sweet to me. you
Mhm.
know? And I think the point of that is that there's sometimes we have a lot of hang-ups about people, color-wise, gender, whatever. Just be open.
Mhm.
People in the world are much nicer than we think, you know? They
Yeah.
fed me, Heather. Really nice, yes. They were like, "Are you hungry? Come and sit down." While I called the travel company to get my stuff sorted out, and I cried. And the guy
Oh,
was like, "You're doing really well, Dawn." I said, "You didn't see me cry." You know?
yeah.
I said, "You in the other room," and I bust out crying about
Yeah.
this. I got a new room. It was fine. One more story about that. I'm sorry.
Yes. No,
Get
no,
to
no.
France, have a great time. Get on the road to go to Brussels. Get to Brussels, find my hotel. Fine. Now I'm navigating by myself.
Oh my god.
Let's not forget. I found
Mhm.
a hotel in Brussels. The concierge is great. I have a really nice room. And I ask her, what are the safe areas? We pulled out the map. She says, don't go beyond this line.
Okay, yep. Okay. Note taken.
Ask the concierge.
Mhm.
And I get on the subway or whatever. I'm thinking I'm getting on the metro. And I get down there again. It's a different language. And I cannot make heads or tail. And
And was it French or Dutch?
Dutch,
Ones.
even Dutch. Because if it
Yeah.
was in French, I could make it out because I have some French, but Dutch
Yeah.
just hated me. I get on the subway anyway, and I get on there and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to the right place. I'm not seeing the things that she said.
Mhm.
So I think either I was on there and I see a black lady again.
Yeah. Be like,
She
"Hey."
had like professional clothes on and she had like a shopping bag. I said, I think that's safe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, hi, do you speak English? She said, yes. And I want to cry because it was just so special.
Yeah.
I said, I think I'm lost. That lady said, I'll
Mhm.
help you. She walked with me from that subway station through all the navigation underground
Mhm.
to the right train.
Okay, so you definitely yeah. So that I know that could be confusing, the train and the metro here.
I should have been on the what you call it, the trolley that's up top. I shouldn't have been in the metro.
Okay,
Found
yeah.
out later. I should have been in the trolley. They have multiple systems. I was on
Yeah, above ground, like yeah.
the overground. She took me, and this is the funny part. So she took me there to the train, and we're moving on the train, and the demographic on the train is starting to change.
Yeah.
And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Boy, I think I might be going to the areas the lady said don't stay, don't go outside of."
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And I start praying. I'm like, "Oh my God, I hope they don't this lady could be trying to sex traffic me." No,
Yeah.
she's gone. No one wants to sex traffic you. Give it up.
Yeah.
You're too old to be sex trafficked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In any case,
Yeah.
she said, "Here's your stop," and I went on my merry way. And that trip, when I tell you, I had solo traveled before that. I'd gone to New Zealand before that by myself.
Mhm.
But it was the whole thing that I was expecting someone else to be there, and then I
Mhm.
navigate on my own. And again, that was one of those things that really proved to me how much I can do, right? And
Yes.
and the God is on my side. That's the other part. And also too, find your black woman. Let me tell you, like someone said in the chat, we're a sisterhood.
Yes. Yes. I wanna say 2 things before I hop
Yeah.
in, to ask you about your solo travel guide.
Okay.
So going back to when you're speaking about being in the right place at the right time, and some things don't work out the way we want them to work out, but they work themselves out how they're supposed to
Yeah.
be. And I think the biggest takeaway is something that you mentioned, like learning from these experiences. You know, I think that sometimes we can have a negative, we can be judgmental, especially in this day and age when it comes to gender
Yeah.
and the type of people, backgrounds and everything. But when you shared that this couple showed you nothing but
Yeah.
beautiful, like, love, and they took you in, and they were so kind and nurturing, that really I feel like it really opens up your eyes, especially outside of America. As Americans, we're just so judgmental and, like, everybody, "Oh, I don't," but I have found that people have been a lot kinder in traveling, not just me doing solo traveling, but even with my daughter and everything, than I would have expected. Not saying that I expected people to be rude, but I have I have encountered so many nice people and so many in passing conversations that I will take with me for years to come, and then I will share.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. And speaking of a Black woman, I was just in Amsterdam, and I am learning Dutch because my boyfriend is Flemish, so he speaks Dutch and French. And this Black woman on the on the train, she was talking to me. She was trying to ask me something, but I had my AirPods in,
Oh,
and I'm learning Dutch. Like, don't get me wrong, I am learning Dutch, actively learning Dutch every day. And I've been wanting to like practice my Dutch and everything. So I've been saying little things, between here and Amsterdam. And I was so nervous to respond back to this black woman that was talking to me. And I wanted to ask her, did she speak English? But I could not. I know how to say it in my mind. I know how to say it in Dutch. But I was like, is it Ingold or is it English? Is it like I didn't want to sound stupid. So
right,
I
I
just
know.
and I just kept my headphones in and ignored her.
No, Heather.
Because I was a nervous wreck. I was just like, I'm gonna say something in Dutch, and then like everyone on the
So
metro is gonna
crazy.
be looking at me like, some like foreigners, they know English, but I feel like it's the
Translated.
way they say it is not how like would say it like in the right tone. So I just ignored the lady.
Oh no.
I was so bad, but I was like, "You're not really gonna take me out when I'm her. Does you speak English? Speak your English?" Like, but I hope she found her way.
Me too.
Because that day was not the day to be asking me whatever she was asking me in Dutch.
She was probably so happy to see a friendly face, and then you were like, "I'm not
I
hearing
was
it."
I was the only Black person on the
Oh
metro.
yeah, she was.
I was just like, my headphones was in, then I started like bouncing my head, like dancing, like, I don't hear nothing. But the point is like,
Mhm.
have more confidence in yourself, Heather, even if you feel like
Yeah.
it might be wrong.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But in my head. But moving on, you talked about solo travel. You talked about how your experiences have shaped, your outlook on a lot of things in solo traveling. So I'm really excited for you to share more about your solo travel guide that you created.
I know. So I mentioned to all of you that my first solo trip was in 2016, and that I had this mission, right, to help women through divorce. And I believe that solo travel has helped me. It has empowered me in a lot of ways. You get to spend solitude is a blessing. So I was reading an article today, and it was about writers, but the guy talked about, he called it free mode. And he
Mm,
said, when your mind is free to roam, you get time to recharge itself. It's creative. You get to connect the dots between things. And when you have solitude, but you get when you travel by yourself,
mhm.
don't be like how I said it was boring the first time. It's not boring anymore.
Yes.
That's the time for you to sit and think about the things that you're wishing for and you're dreaming for. And so my solo travel, and so long story short, many people over the years have said to me, Dawn, how did you do it? Or they've watched me and they were like, I watched you and now I solo travel. For me,
Inspiration.
I wanted to share with everyone, especially people who might have fare like I did, and sometimes still do, y'all. I still do sometimes, the journey you can take to your first solo travel trip. So in the
Mm,
guide, it has like, tidbits of information, little wisdom. I call them your journey gems, like some of the things I mentioned today, like things I discovered while traveling. Like you said, Heather, one is like most of the people in the world are really nice.
yeah.
They don't want to do you any harm. But if you
Mm,
look at television, it seems like everyone's out to get you. You know what I mean? You won't find that when you travel. And so it has that. It also has time for you to sit and rediscover who you are. Like, what do you enjoy? What are you
mm,
afraid of? And if you are afraid, how can you address that fear to get you moving? Like, what's important to you when you travel? Do you like museums? Do you like
mm.
art galleries? Like, you might be like me. I try to find Black history everywhere I go. That's one of
Me
my
too.
things. Is there a Black something?
Mhm.
A community, a art gallery, something, right? Like I came across an art gallery in San Miguel that they had a Mozambican artist
cool.
in residence. Well, she was gone by the time I got there, but I was like, that is on my list to do. I'm going to see this African artist,
Mhm.
the Azores, okay? The one black thing I can find.
Yes. Something to take away and experience.
Guide does. It takes you on a journey, right? From and going through to plan your first trip so that when you're done, you know where you're gonna go, you feel safe, you know what you're gonna do when you get there, your itinerary, and then on your trip, I have some pages in there for you to reflect. Like we talked about free mode and how important it is for self-introspection. When you're on the trip to journal, like we talked about, it's important.
Mhm.
You can go like me and 8 years later, pull it out and be like, yeah, I hated it. It was boring. And now here you are today. It's not boring anymore. You know what I mean? You can see your growth.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so that's what it is, basically. And I hope that people who have been interested in solo travel would get, purchase that from me. And I think it'll help you. And I hope that when you take your first trip, you'd be like, hey, Dawn, I used the travel guide to get my first trip. You know what I mean? And I use some of the things that I helped my friend Katura when she was on her trip, to go to her first trip. I put some of that in
Yeah.
there as well.
You went to Napa Valley, I think she mentioned.
She went to Napa. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I put the link to your to Dawn's travel guide book in the comments, and it is back on the screen. Also, when you want to go back and rewatch this video or listen to the audio, there will be links directly to her travel guide as well. So don't worry about missing it right now. Or if you don't copy and paste it at the end of this live, you'll be able to see it in the description. So you guys can check it out.
Yeah, and the promo, the $10 off is from today. It's just for our conventional itinerary audience. So that's from today until Wednesday. So jump on that I think you'll enjoy it. So jump on that.
Yeah. And I think it's important just to touch on this, and then I have 2 more questions to ask you, to kind of having a blueprint of things that you should ask yourself, and sometimes getting questions asked or answering questions that you didn't think about, like, oh, wow, I never thought about this. I never thought about that. So definitely having someone else's perspective of someone who has lived through it, gone through it, and it's inspiring others and constantly adding more to it is very important, because sometimes you don't know things, and that's okay if you don't know things. But it's also great when you come across people that know things that you don't know that you should know, and they put it together in one space where so you're not scouring Reddit or scrolling through Instagram with these. Yeah, listen, don't sleep on Reddit. Reddit is great, but it's a lot of scrolling and searching. So I'm really excited about your travel guide. So everyone, make sure when you're watching this, you have till Wednesday to get the discount. It was 10% off, $10 off of her travel guide. All right, and I just have 2 more questions to ask you. And one of the questions are there any specific destinations or types of travel experiences that you found particularly transformative?
Yes. So I have my notes, y'all. So I got to go back because I don't want to forget them all.
Okay.
The interesting connection between them, I only just realized recently.
Oh, okay.
Auckland, New Zealand. I loved it there.
Auckland? I have family there. Wow.
I had a moment there where I just broke down crying. I was so grateful
for
the privilege of doing what I did.
Wow.
The solo travel is a huge deal, right? I realized the other day that that's not a usual thing. Like when I tell people and I'm traveling and they're like, you're by yourself? And I say, yes, they'd be like, really? And I was like, oh, Dawn, this is not a normal thing. For you it's become, but it probably isn't. So Auckland was one of those places. I had the same type of moment in Rhode Island.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just came from San Miguel in the Azores. Each of those experiences, I had a very spiritual experience, one where I was so grateful for the opportunity to do what I love, right? To have the resources to do it. And I was just so grateful. But what I noticed about those 3 places is they're all near the ocean.
Wow. The water is something.
Yes. I find it very serene and peaceful. but it's probably because it's a homecoming for me. I'm an island girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, duh.
Agree,
So
but
those
it
have been that for me. I probably won't make it back to Auckland. I might do the South Island the next time, but I'm definitely going back to San Miguel. In fact, I'm
yeah.
thinking I'm going to retreat there next year, everybody. So if it's someplace where you want to go, I'll be happy to, lead you and facilitate you there. And then Rhode Island, I'm definitely going back to New England. That place is beautiful.
I don't think I've ever been to Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, I've been to Maine. I drove up one
Yeah,
year.
the all up there. Okay. The New England area. Yeah.
I think I like the nature as well. It's just so profound, the differences,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I live in the city. When you go out to these places, just the natural beauty, just you can't but stand in awe of it. You
Yeah.
see who you really are among all the things. Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I ever had the drive to want to go to the New England states, but I might need to check it out because you said, you had a great experience there, and it is on the East Coast, so there's really no reason why I have not gone there.
You can drive it. I drove it in like over a
Yeah.
week. I drove from Well, I did Rhode Island by itself, but I drove from Boston up to Maine and then back.
Okay, so not too bad.
Mm.
Yes. I had to check it out. I had to do some more research into it.
And I did it in the fall with the leaves and the
Oh,
color.
I love East Coast fall. Oh my goodness. It's
Gorgeous.
like the smell and the aesthetically pleasing of the leaves turning orange and yellow. It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice. All right. We are almost at the end, but I still have one last question.
Yes,
One last question. How are you helping and supporting other women who would like to solo travel?
I don't think I'm supporting them enough.
Okay.
I told you guys I'm a techie, and that's a pretty all-consuming type of job. And so, though in my heart I really wanted to help women, I was not as much as I could because I didn't have the bandwidth.
Yeah.
But I recently got laid off, so now I have more time.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. I'm so ready for this new phase in my life. Like I can really devote myself to my mission. Like this mission is so strong, it's never left me for 10 years.
Wow.
And so the solo travel guide. Oh, and I also want to mention, if you use the guide and you feel like you need extra help, you can book a private consultation with me. I can walk you through stuff, your itinerary. If you have questions, there's so much information that I have, but I couldn't put it all in that book, right? It couldn't. You wouldn't even read the book. It's too big.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you feel like you want that too, definitely book some time with me. I would love, 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 love to help you research things, give you more ideas for stuff, hear what you want. Some people need help just figuring out what they like.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do that with you. And so I hope to be able, Heather, to start helping women, especially divorced women. They're my heart.
Yeah.
Plus women that are single again. There's so much we're navigating.
Yes, a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, and it's really great to have that one-on-one support.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like although groups are great, but you also don't know who's behind the screen and if people are stable or unstable. And there's a lot of keyboard warriors. So that's why I'm not in a lot of these Facebook groups where there's support. I really don't engage in those groups anymore, but I do appreciate more on one-on-one, especially with certain things that I'm trying to find out or navigate. It really does give a personal touch. And I kind of feel like I can rely on that person. I know they're real, and you're able to hear put what do you call it? Put a voice to a face and a name to a face, and it does make it much better. So if you guys are looking, or you women are looking to start solo traveling, have questions, would like someone to assist you, especially those that are going through a divorce, are divorced, definitely reach out to Dawn. She's doing some amazing things. And these are the types of women that we need to be supporting, talking more about, sharing their information, because divorce life is tough. It's not a boyfriend breakup. It's a lot going on, and starting over and finding yourself and building yourself back up. if some people cannot do, I'm one of the people that couldn't do it on my own. And I'm still learning.
Oh yeah.
And it's been 12 years, 13 years since I've been divorced. Yeah, almost like 13 years since I've been divorced. And I'm still navigating and still finding ways and finding myself. So,
So one quick thing before we go, Heather, about
yes.
time. I've been divorced now from the second husband for about 10 years.
Hmm.
Morning I was listening to music, and one of the songs was about relationships and how it was like, can it work out? And I was just crying. Y'all,
Oh,
like, yes. It was like all the feelings I'd had in that divorce was there. And I
hmm.
realized that it's grief.
Yeah.
And you know what they say about grief? It's not linear. Like,
Hmm.
it can come in waves. You think you good and it come and hit you right back.
Yeah.
And thankfully I know that, right? So I didn't get, but I let the moment take me. I let those emotions out. It was like, I said, my soul must have needed it. And I didn't,
Mhm.
you know, but I thought that was so interesting how 10 years later, I still have those grief moments, those moments of loss. I still deal with the anger.
Yeah.
Like I get mad, like he took my,
All valid feelings.
you
All valid.
know, and then I
Yeah.
have to remember, no, it's not worth it.
Hmm.
You look at your life from where you've come, like it's not
Yeah.
worth going back there.
They're going back. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're here for you. I think Awaken Life mentioned that she's recently separated, so we're here for you. That's a
Yeah.
tough time. It's not easy, but definitely travel. I saw you mention that you're going to travel, so
Yes. And
yeah.
the Gavilanting grandma Diamond is on here too. I just interviewed her. I
Yeah,
think she was the second person I interviewed. Her
yes,
story is great. Travel over 55
I
plus
love
for
it.
women, and she does house sitting. Her interview was great. If you have not listened to it, definitely
Watch
tune
it.
in. And I can't wait to bring her back in September-ish and talk about some other things that she has going on. But we are at the end of this amazing, amazing interview live, just chilling and talking.
Yeah.
I wish we can go on for longer because I feel like we could have had this conversation for much longer, but I am being mindful of everyone's time, and it's 11 o'clock here after 11, and I still have schoolwork to
Ooh,
do.
girl. Yeah, you tired? Yeah, it's late.
Yes, 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 yes. So, with that being said, is there any last words you would like to say, Dawn?
No, there's so much I would love to share with everybody. So, follow. I'm on the socials. I'm not over active, but I'm there. You can find me on Facebook at my Facebook page, Courageous, Daring, Wonderful You. You can even find my personal page, Dawn Butler. I do vet that a bit. So if you're going to come on my personal page, be like, hey, Dawn, I saw you on Unconventional Itinerary. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I'm a techie, but I'm also a cybersecurity professional. So I'm very, fussy
Yes.
about that. I'm on LinkedIn. I spend a lot of my time on LinkedIn, more than on Facebook and Instagram, because my other passion is mentoring techies. So I spend a lot
Okay.
of time on
Wow.
LinkedIn there. I have a podcast about mentoring that's called Bites, Bits, and Brilliance.
Yes.
Now, granted, it's for techies, but the things that are shared there are for anyone professionally you needing mentorship. It's the information is agnostic, as we call it. It doesn't matter your profession, you can get something from it. So please take a listen. And I will have a website soon. It'll be up in a few months.
Okay.
Remember I said I've been working on this for a while and I've been too
Now,
busy?
now is the time, girl.
Yeah.
Yes. I will put up all of this. I think it's in the description already, but if not, it will definitely be there with all the hyperlinks so you can easily click it on the YouTube and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But with that being said, we're going to wrap this up. So thank you everyone for joining. If you have any other questions, please drop them in the comment section on the YouTube channel. I'll be checking it. Dawn will be checking it to see if there's any questions. And definitely reach out to Dawn. Check out her podcast. Check out her LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great way to connect other people. She has Facebook, y'all, but make sure y'all say, hey, I saw you on Heather's Unconventional Itinerary. But yeah, so until then, thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. And next week, I will have another interview on Sundays. And I'm hoping to continue doing this every Sunday so you all have a chance to be inspired by everyone that has taken the time to allow me to interview them. So with that being said, this is the end. So good night, everyone. Ciao.
For this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Let's see, this is going to end.